My name is Adam Smith, and I am the director and producer of Space Queens. Space Queens is a documentary looking at the women behind Apollo 11 and the next generation of women in aerospace. The film was created in 2019 as the end result of my final year at university. I got to interview women who were working at NASA and future astronauts at Virgin Galactic, and they kind of reflected on the women who made Apollo 11 possible, mathematicians and engineers and early engineers working at NASA in 1960s when the moon landing was happening and in the early days at NASA. I got in contact with people through using LinkedIn and sending emails and using a lot of phone calls. I was really overwhelmed at the amount of interest that there was there at NASA and in aerospace in general, and how passionate the people were and how vested an interest people had in getting involved in the project. I think that people were interested in the project because it's something that people in general really want to get involved in. They want to tell their stories of the moon landing. They want to relive their memories of this because it's something we're all interested in. I think that, we all have a memory of Apollo 11, even if we weren't around when it happened. It's a huge event to happen, somebody landing on the moon. And I think that as women, as an oppressed minority, they want to get their stories out there and they want to help other women. And I think that as well, 2019 being the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, it was a huge event and everyone wanted to get involved, especially if you worked in aerospace, And I've heard some great stories from people who get involved in aerospace and didn't realize that they could get a career in aerospace. One of the great women who were involved in the documentary, Christina Corp, her job is to get people involved in aerospace who didn't think that they could work in aerospace. And she really tries to encourage people to get involved in STEM as well. And she's really trying to encourage young women, young girls to get involved in that field as well. The main inspiration for the documentary came from really having an interest primarily in science fiction and having an interest in space, and taking that interest and merging it with my interest in equality and it being the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11. And really marrying all those interests together and combining them with being a documentary filmmaker. I sort of combined them all together in a sort of melting pot and decided that I was going to make this documentary. It was my final year of university, and I thought, well, it's either do this or not do this and wonder what life would have been like if I didn't do this. And I decided I was going to go as far as I could to see how possible it would have been to make this documentary. And lo and behold, I managed to make it possible. And this by no means means it was easy. It was a lot of effort and a lot of relentless contacting and pushing to make it possible. I remember pitching the documentary to my class and to my colleagues at the university, and their reactions were kind of very stark. They were very concerned about the possibility of making this documentary. But I think it was important. I think this documentary needed to be made. I think that there are people who are very willing to tell their stories and very, very willing to give a platform to women in aerospace. And I think that it's a very important area of representation that's needed. And I think that women in general like to give voice to those underrepresented areas. And I think that's something that needs to be explored more. And that's why on the back of this, I'm now doing workshops with women in aerospace, not just at NASA, but in Virgin Galactic, SpaceX as well. I'm working with these women and delivering virtual workshops, and I'm talking to them about their careers with the view to inspire the next generation, because that's really what Space Queens was seeking to do as well. It's reflect on the last 50 years, also look to the next 50 years as well. I would describe Space Queens as a very inspirational documentary that encourages people of any gender and of any age who have a vision, who not necessarily even want to work in aerospace, but have a dream, who think that it's a bit too big and feel like it's not for them, who want to pursue something that they've been told that they can't, and just need a little bit of inspiration. You know, we've got a lot of motivational speakers and Space Queens who have been told at one point in their life that maybe that their dream is a little bit too big or a little bit out of their reach. One of the greatest speeches, I think, comes from Barbara Kennedy, who was told a lot in her career that she couldn't do something because of either her gender or because of her background. And a lot of the time she comes out with some great quotes, and a lot of the women in the film, in fact all of the women in the film, come out with really great quotes. And you know, it's a really inspirational documentary, and I really thoroughly enjoyed my time working on it. And it's really important as well because people in this industry and in aerospace are really passionate about what it is they do, and they really want to encourage other people, which I think is amazing. And they really want to give a voice to people who are underrepresented. That's kind of why I wanted to make this documentary myself. I wanted to give a voice to other people. That's why I'm a documentary filmmaker. It's something that I really feel is important to do. It's why I got into this industry myself. And that's why I want to make documentaries. And I feel like it's important to tap into those areas that necessarily aren't always seen on the screen, and those stories that aren't always necessarily heard. And if you're reading like those articles in the newspaper that are mainstream, but you wonder what all those stories are that you haven't heard. And I think it's important when these kind of groups can come together, you know, when filmmakers can talk to, you know, the stories that haven't been heard, and we can kind of all come together as one sort of group, and we can get those stories across and get those voices heard. And I think it's really important when these sort of areas can merge together, and I think that's when something special really happens. What I really love now as well is that the film has been shown in schools and science festivals around the UK and in certain parts of the world. It's been really well received, and it's now living up to the dream that I had of inspiring the next generation, which was really important for me because I didn't just want to make a film that lived on a shelf or lived on YouTube or somewhere on the internet, that was just a production that I'd worked on and went out there and died essentially. I wanted to help to inspire other people because, you know, the women that I worked with were great and they were really inspirational, and they inspired me. Even just looking through the lens on the camera, I felt a little bit of a shiver going down my spine, and I wanted to take that message and send it out there to the universe, as cliche as that sounds. But I think it's really important to, you know, hear these words and take them as far as they can go. And having had this film shown at schools and science festivals is really important, and it's continuing to share its message to this day, having been shown on Amazon Prime and film festivals as well. It's really having a broad message to this day, and I think that's really special, and it's really important as well, especially in 2020 when we need a shimmer of hope in this world. It's not even just affecting people in aerospace, it's spreading its message to the whole science community and people who work in film and television, who are in film festivals, who have seen this film and maybe seen a little bit of positivity through the message of the film. Because really space is something vast that can unite us all. So when you think about it, we are all under the same sky and we are all seeing the same stars. And that's really what the message of Space Queens is all about. Because equality is something that affects us all and something that we all strive for, and really something that unites us all.